You spent 8 hours in bed last night. You closed your eyes. You tried to relax. But this morning you woke up feeling like you never slept at all. And you are sitting there thinking something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is wrong with the signals you are sending your brain before you sleep. And once you understand what those signals are, you will never have another wasted night again. Welcome to Shift Logic. Today, we are breaking down the real neuroscience behind why millions of people sleep for 8 hours and still wake up completely exhausted. We are going to talk about one specific hormone that quietly controls everything that happens in your brain before you fall asleep. And we are going to give you 3 proven, science-backed habits that send your brain the exact signals it needs to finally shut down properly and recover fully. This is not about counting sheep. This is cold hard brain biology. And by the end of this video, you will understand your sleep like never before. Let us start with the foundation. Most people never learn. Your brain does not fall asleep simply because you want it to. It falls asleep when it decides the environment is safe enough to lower its guard. And the chemical that controls that decision is called cortisol. Now, most people hear cortisol and immediately think stress hormone, but that is only part of the story. Cortisol is more accurately described as an alertness signal. Its primary job is to keep your brain sharp, responsive, and prepared for anything that might require your attention during the day. That is extremely useful when you are working, solving problems, and moving through your day. But when you are lying in bed trying to sleep, it becomes a serious problem. When cortisol remains high at night, your brain interprets your environment as potentially unsafe, and a brain that believes it is not safe does not allow itself to enter deep recovery sleep. Instead, it stays in a lighter, more fragmented state, always half alert, always ready to react. This is the hidden reason. You can spend 8 full hours in bed and still wake up feeling completely drained. Your brain was never truly allowed to power down and recover. It was standing guard all night without you even knowing it. The critical question is this: what is keeping your cortisol elevated when you are trying to sleep? And the answer comes down to 3 specific signals your brain receives in the final hour before bed. Here are 3 powerful habits that send your brain the right signals to lower cortisol and unlock genuinely deep sleep. Habit number 1. Control your light environment. Your brain does not understand bedtime the way you do. It does not read clocks. It does not check your calendar. It understands one thing above everything else. Light is the master signal that controls your circadian rhythm. That is the internal biological clock that tells your brain when to be alert and when to power down. When your brain detects bright light in the evening, it draws one logical conclusion: it is still daytime. And in response, it keeps cortisol slightly elevated and actively delays the release of melatonin, which is the hormone that initiates sleep. This creates a direct biological conflict inside your body. Your biology is trying to stay alert while you are physically lying down trying to sleep. The solution is remarkably simple, but most people never use it. Beginning around 60 to 90 minutes before bed, start intentionally reducing the light intensity in your home. Turn off harsh overhead lights. Switch to softer, warmer lamps. Reduce the brightness of any screens you are using. This gradual dimming sends a powerful and consistent message to your brain: night has arrived. It is safe to begin lowering vigilance. When your brain receives that signal consistently every night, cortisol begins to drop naturally and melatonin begins to rise exactly when it should. Habit number 2. Empty your mind before you close your eyes. Here is something most people do not realize about their brain. It is a prediction machine running around the clock. Your brain is constantly scanning for unresolved problems, unfinished tasks, and unanswered questions. Not because it is trying to stress you out, but because from a survival perspective, an unresolved problem might require action at any moment. And your brain wants to be ready when you lie down at night with a mind full of unfinished thoughts. Your brain does not interpret that as relaxation time. It interprets it as a situation requiring ongoing attention. And that interpretation keeps your nervous system in a low-level state of alertness all night long. There is one simple strategy that dramatically reduces this effect. Before you go to bed, spend just 2 to 3 minutes writing down every task, concern, or thought that is still circulating in your mind. This does 2 powerful things simultaneously. First, it removes the pressure of mentally holding all that information. Second, and more importantly, it sends your brain a clear signal that everything important has been acknowledged, recorded, and stored somewhere safe. Nothing will be lost or forgotten. Research on cognitive offloading consistently shows that even brief Journaling before bed significantly reduces nighttime rumination and measurably lowers physiological stress levels. Your brain genuinely relaxes when it knows nothing critical is at risk of being forgotten. Habit number 3. Use your breath to switch off your stress response. Cortisol does not exist in isolation inside your body. It is directly connected to the state of your entire nervous system. When your nervous system is in sympathetic mode, that is what scientists call the fight or flight state. Cortisol stays elevated to maintain full readiness. To lower cortisol, your nervous system must shift into parasympathetic mode. That is the state associated with genuine safety, recovery, and restoration. And one of the fastest, most reliable ways to trigger that shift requires nothing but your own breath. Slow, controlled breathing directly activates the vagus nerve. That is a major neural pathway running from your brainstem all the way down through your body. When stimulated through slow breathing, the vagus nerve sends an immediate and powerful, calm signal to both your brain and your body. Here is a method that works extremely well. Inhale slowly and gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Then exhale even more slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat this simple pattern for just 1 to 2 minutes. The longer exhale is the critical element here. Extended exhales specifically trigger parasympathetic dominance in your nervous system. Within just a few minutes of doing this, your heart rate slows down, the tension in your muscles begins to soften, and cortisol measurably starts to decline. Your brain receives the clearest possible message. The environment is safe. Vigilance is no longer necessary. It is time to rest. Here is the most important idea to take away from everything we just covered. You cannot force your brain to sleep. Trying to force sleep is like trying to force yourself to feel calm by telling yourself to calm down. It does not work because sleep is not a decision. Your conscious mind makes sleep as a biological process that your brain allows to happen when it receives enough evidence that the environment is safe, that nothing important is unresolved, and that your body is no longer in a state of active stress. Light levels, mental clarity, and nervous system state are the 3 primary pieces of evidence your brain uses to make that decision every single night. When you consistently send the right signals across all 3 of those areas, cortisol quiets down naturally. Your brain stops standing guard, and the deep restorative sleep your body desperately needs becomes not something you have to chase, but something that simply happens. Most people spend years being exhausted without ever understanding why. They try earlier bedtimes. They try sleep trackers. They try melatonin gummies, and nothing works long term. Because none of those things address the actual root cause. The root cause is a brain that has not received the right signals to stand down. Now you understand those signals. Now you know exactly what your brain needs to hear before it will allow itself to fully recover. Dim your light an hour before bed. Empty your mind onto paper. Breathe slowly and let your nervous system shift. 3 habits, 3 signals, 1 completely transformed relationship with sleep. If this video gave you a new way of understanding your own brain, hit that subscribe button right now because this is exactly what Shift Logic is about. Understanding the science behind your mind so you can work with it instead of against it. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 3 habits you are going to start tonight. I read every single one. Stay logical. Stay shifting. This is Shift Logic.